Boy, I like my Grenadian people. We good in we class. Yes, many of us beat all cockfights. And there were people who came to Grenada, and they too, they beat all cockfight. Like the man called Gator, a white man. Don't know where he came from. But what was interesting about Gator, Gator used to walk half naked. I never saw that man. I never saw him with a shirt on. Always half naked. And Gator used to lie down in the sea water near the fire station there on the Carnage. Stretch out his arms and just float in the water. But I never saw a man float on water like that for long periods. And then what about the sailor? You know, back then a lot of man of war, battleship we call it, used to come into Grenada, and the sailors, many of them drunk like hell, walking up and down the walking. And there was one particular sailor. He, drunk like ever, was asking for a certain woman, whose name I would not call, of course. And he said, "Have you seen," said a woman called X. And he described her. The woman with the twisted jaw. She stole my boots. Well, I don't know how the woman ended up stealing the sailor's boots. You could try and figure that out. So yes, we had interesting characters. Some came into Grenada, and then some were Grenadians walking up and down. So let me tell you a little about some of the eccentric, colorful, interesting characters. Who remembers the bread we called the leaven bread? But that was a nice bread, eh? Crispy and nice. Well, I used to buy that bread in shops like Mr. Broffett shop on the Carnage. And when they mix that bread with some pig snout or salt beef, and they sat in Empire Cinema watching a movie, they munch on the leaven bread. That was a very nice bread. I wonder if they still make leaven bread in Grenada. And there was another bread. We call it a Vienna bread. Vienna bread. Nice bread also. And of course, the penny bread. Well, the penny bread, the word penny. You remember the big penny that Grenada used to have as currency, the penny. And you could buy penny this and penny that years ago. And even before that, you had pound, shilling, and pence. And my grandmother used to talk about pound, shilling, and pence. She never said she's 25 cents. She said shilling. She called it shilling. A shilling, you know. Back in colonial times, we inherited a lot of that which was popular in England became also popular in the colonies. Pound, shilling, and pence. So yes, the penny bread, and the Vienna bread, and the leaven bread, and the other bread. My mother made, boy, she made a bread. When you eat a bread, you don't want to put nothing on it, butter or whatever. You just eat that bread like that. Very, very satisfying. Our Grenadian mothers were really good, you know. Good cooks, making all kind of nice things. Now to Anjo. Anjo was a fella. Anjo used to take a whole leaven bread, and I don't know how he did it. He pushed it in his mouth. When you eat food, when you eat food and you eat it too quickly, the old people never like to see that. They say licorice. You're greedy like a shark. Take your time and eat. Have some table manners. Andrew pushed the bread in his mouth, and you may not want to believe this. After 2 bites, boy, the bread gone. The bread done. The bread disappeared. and he wash it down with a solo, a red spot, a sky eye, or a Fanta sweet drink. And back then, Grenadians were good at making all kind of drinks. Mr. Williams, Black Sheep's father, Horace Williams' father, made a nice sweet drink up in Victoria. Some people will remember that. So after Andrew washed down the bread with a sweet drink, he took up a lard pan. Well, the lard pan was a pan that was very useful. You could use a lard pan to boil your ham. You see, Christmas time, you put your ham in the lard pan and you can boil it because it was a pan that large enough to do so. And some people used to put cocoa. When they pick the cocoa, they jug the cocoa from the trees and they cut the cocoa and take out the pods, put it in a lard pan. But that was heavy, real heavy. You had to eat good food. It called for eating good food to lift up a lard pan filled with cocoa. So Andrew picked up the lard pan with picking, filled with picking, and placed it on his head. And he made it down the cobbled steps of Copper Hill. Now, the cobbled steps, cobblestones, Market Hill, in the heart of St. George's, was once a hill made up of cobblestones, river stones. Can you imagine how much it will cost today if you want to do some work with cobblestones? That'll be a lot of money, boy, a lot of money. But Andrew balanced the picking pan with considerable ease. On sometimes the cobblestones were slippery after the tropical downpour. But yet, he was able to balance it in the same manner as a woman called Miss Charles. And she lived up on St. Jules Street. She balanced food that she brought, food and baskets of food on a tray placed on her head to feed the policemen who were stationed near Fort George. You see, people used to, what we call boarding. Boarding was if they live at you, yes. But feeding, so I have to get it right. Feeding the policemen at Fort George. Miss Judd was a strong woman. I would say very, very strong. Now, the picking was made up of all kinds of leftover food. Now, even before I go to this, let me tell you about balancing stuff on the head. I don't know if it's an African thing, custom, but I do know that I saw a woman, she stopped traffic in Manhattan, African woman, when she had on her head, load on her head, and she walked with ease. And people were looking on, boy, this woman balancing this thing on her head. The woman stopped traffic. Could you believe that? And that was popular in Grenada. The kata, the kind of cloth thing that they put on the head, and they put the weight on their heads over the kata, made it easy to carry, but they were good at balancing. So yes, the pigs were never particular about what food they ate. If somebody tell you eating like a pig, boy, another very good thing for someone to tell you, it's not flattering at all. It ain't good at all, boy. You're eating like a pig. Pig never were particular. A pig eating anything. If they throw you in a pig pen, you better watch out. Pig will eat you too. So pigs ate a green fig and dashing skin, yam skin, rotten mangoes. You throw that in a pig pen. Pig eating that, called picking. Picking. You tell a young boy today about picking. Many of them don't know what that is. Picking. So the pigs also ate blogo leaves and even coconut husk. A fella called Cocoa Wood. And Cocoa Wood, I have to say this about Cocoa Wood. He was unlike the pig. He cared about his diet. You know, some of us, we do care about our diet. Some of us will not eat pumpkin soup. Some don't even like chicken soup. But a lot of people love oil down. Coco Wood cared about his diet. But that son of a gun was a damn ungrateful man. And she used to make he used to make his wife catch she royal tail. In other words, she used to catch she nene under the man. The man hated breadfruit soup. Hated it with a passion. And every time he drank his grog, well, another name for rum, he drank his grog and he blew all the pesh. I like to use our local terms, that is us. I always say that and I'll say it again. When he blew all the pesh in the rum shop, boy, his wife used to get vexed to bust. And she retaliated by putting breadfruit soup in his plate. There was another guy, he never used to give his wife any money to cook food and so on. So, boy, he nearly beat up his wife one time when he came home and she got tired of that. When he gave her the little money once. One time he gave her little money to cook something for him. And when he uncovered nice, covered down bowl on the table and he opened it, he saw the few cents he gave her to cook food. Boy, the man get mad, but that was good for him, eh? It was damn fresh and no manners at all. So when Coco Wood's wife put a breadfruit soup in his bowl, boy, that was a signal for him to launch into a foul-mouthed tirade. He cursed his wife. Oh gosh, boy, that guy was something else. He cursed the wife's mother. He cursed her father. How everybody could remember. He cursed some of them who died already. He caused them too. He caused the disease, yes, the disease caused them, the dead already, but he caused them still. And even caused the neighborhood dogs when he was angry. And when he was drunk and he walked up the hill, people used to shout, look who coming there, boy, Castro coming. Well, the name Castro was a reference to Fidel Castro, the Cuban leader. So now I'll tell you about a man called Mr. Mickey. A man used to live at Cherry Hill area. That's where I was born. I was born in Cherry Hill in the Colony Hospital. I don't care these days about talking about my age, I say, how old I am these days. If somebody asks how old I am, I say, thank God for all these years that I have lived. I see people cussing old people. Be careful with that, because if you live long enough to get old, the same people you're cussing today, your children might cuss you tomorrow. So watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. So Mr. Mickey was another character. Mr. Mickey said, boy, I ain't eating no lambi. Tell your wife, don't give me no lambi. I don't want lambi at all. Mr. Mickey devoured callaloo soup. He devoured oil long, cook up rice, fish broth, and he even put a licking on the back of neck chicken his wife brought from the cold storage store on the Carnage. Who remembers the cold storage store on the Carnage? But he used to cut all kind of style on the lambi. The man don't want to eat lambi at all. Well, his wife, what she do for him? Again, our words, somebody do for you, boy. I tell you, they go fix you up. She prepared a wonderful dish of stewed lambi with rice and peas, and she disguised her lambi real nice. Now she set a tempting plate before Mickey. Boy, immediately he dived into it, boy. Happy, he dived into it. In another way of saying, he started to gobble it up. In a few seconds, the man's plate was clean as a bowlie. Mr. Mickey knew what he had eaten. He knew very well what he had eaten, and he loved it. And he wanted to ask for more. But how could a man ask for more after cutting style and boasting that he will never eat lamb meat? It was a difficult thing for him to ask for more. He was too ashamed after cutting so much style over the years. But the lingering taste, boy, that tortured him. It tortured him until he could take no more. And here Mickey, woman, you have more of that blasted thing there? Blasted thing, she replied. What happened, Mickey? You're playing, you can't remember the name. Mickey's Lambie, you eat. Lambie. You know, Mickey's days of cutting style on the Lambie was over. Yes. Woman, you have more of that blasted thing there? Now, there was a fella called Mush Boy. His eating habits were similar to that of the pigs. The pigs that Andrew used to drug the picking to feed. He ate anything, anything. He loved to cook and eat the heads of them. I never see a man like he eat heads, so all kind of heads. His friend from Oban was always hesitant to eat at his house because he was never certain what kind of beast head the man would cook, would prepare for him. He was even afraid the man gave him a cockhead to eat. He lived in Brooklyn for some time, and he was known to travel all the way up to New Jersey to buy goat head and deer head. The man loved to cook head, only head he wanted to eat. And when he got drunk, man, he snatched anything and he ate it. He sat in his house one day, and he bit into a Vienna bread packed with corned beef. He did not realize or seem to care that he was helping himself to the ants, them big ants that were crawling around in the corned beef. But he thought it strange, though, because he knew he did not buy all that corned beef. There was too much corned beef he was eating there. And he got this sober awakening when he felt this sting of the ants on his lips. The ants took a turn in the tail. And now, I'll tell you the story of Big George. Big George loved this food, boy. He loved this food. But there was a neighborhood cat. The cat called Johnny. Cats are very smart, you know. A fella once was told by his wife, go and throw the cat up in GRENADIAN, lose it. Lose the cat, I tired of this cat thieving down here. So the man took the cat to GRENADIAN and he threw it in the rainforest up there. And went back home. It was dark night. The wife said, did you get rid of the cat? Did you throw it up in GRENADIAN? He said, get rid of the cat. Boy, I forget how to come back home. It's the cat I followed to get back home, you know. Lucky thing the cat was able to bring me back home. I was lost. So yes, Big George didn't like the idea of this cat eating all his food. No matter how much care Big George took to secure his pot. But that cat always found some kind of way to uncover it and sink its teeth into his fried jacks, his smoked herring, or his stewed beef. Cat smart, you know. They could uncover a pot. So Big George decided, well, you know what, man? The time has come. I will end this cat's thieving ways once and for all. So he set up one night, boy. He waited for the unwelcome intruder. And as Johnny jumped on the stove, Big George grabbed it by the tail and carried the animal all the way to the far ledge near Grandance. And he threw it over the precipice there. He walked home, boy. A relieved man, so happy sensing that all his troubles with that cat were over. He was so happy. He placed his hands in his pocket and he merrily whistled the sparrow calypso. Gina and Dinah, Rosita and Clement. Boy, he happy singing. He walked up his gap, and to his dismay, to Big George's dismay, Johnny was sitting on his step peeping at him and licking his lip. You know what? Johnny was peeping like a Grenadian. He had just devoured another big jack, one of them big jacks, you know. Mom used to make stuffed jacks. You know, Big George had only succeeded in depriving Johnny of one of its lives. You see, a cat have more than one, 9 lives. So the cat had 8 more lives at least to steal his cornfish, to steal his fish cake, his Big Jack, and his smoked herring. But back then, Grenada had all kind of interesting characters. Coming back to the characters, Mr. George Beard, who pushed his bike from Belmont to True Blue during the time of Expo 69, was a very curious individual. Intelligent, but curious. Eccentric also. He once said, boy, this sun's so damn hot, He felt sorry for his bike. So he decided not to ride a bike in the blistering heat. And you know, Grenada sun could be really, really hot, you know. Now, there's so many stories about Mr. George Beard. The time he rode a bike, he told a little boy, coming down the hill with a bike, he said, boy, stand up in the street there and tell me if you see any car coming. And those little boys could be miserable, you know. So, look, hey, all clear, Mr. Beard, come down with your bike. So he jump on the bike and he coming down the hill and up on a man windshield. The man said, Mr. Beard, you okay? He said, don't worry about me, man. Look to see if your glass broke, if your car glass, your windshield. Look to see if that break. Boy, I tell you, we good in we class, you know. When I tell you we good in the class, you think it was joking. And when George Beard sat in his house, that's how he sat in Empire Cinema. Somebody said, Mr. Beard, your house is on fire, your house is burning. And Mr. Beard said, well, the hell my house got burned when I have the key in my pocket. And besides that, I have 2 fried pigs in there. How the hell my house got burned? Yes, my friend. We had characters. Mr. Walter Dunn, that man knew more law than lawyers. You can't beat him in the courthouse. Don't try. And he was a man with more than a touch of intelligence. And he proved how efficient a thinker he was when he was charged with walking around the streets of St. George's naked. You see, in those days, the mistake they made was not using words as indecent exposure. They say naked. So Mr. Walter Dunn, he won his case because he convinced the judge that since he was wearing a tie, he was not naked. I can still picture him. I can still see him as he made his stately strides on the streets of St. George's with 2 25-cent pieces stuck, one in the right ear, the next one in the left ear. Boy, we had characters. There are fellas used to write all kind of thing on the street. Messages, telling the world would end in such and such a date and whatnot. All kind of simmy-dimmy, some used to stand up and make in the street, making all kind of signs, the sign of the cross and other signs. We good in we class, no joke. And now to Dummy James. Dummy James, he was told to buy penny fry saltfish. He couldn't say the word saltfish. So he asked for penny I ought it. I want a penny I ought it. Penny I ought it. But he was a fearless individual, and he used to help people load their stuff on buses, the wooden buses in the markets. He used to help, very helpful, and they used to give him a lot of money. So he was able to live like that. But once Dummy James was charged with an offense, as he stood in the courthouse, the judge asked him if he was guilty or not guilty, and Dummy James calmly told the judge, Your Honor, I can't talk now. What happened? You can't see? Your eye in eclipse? You don't see I eating my rock cake? We had a hard cake in Grenada called a rock. And Dummy James had a rock cake in his pocket, he eating the rock cake while the judge asking him question. You can't see I eating my rock cake? Your Honor? You can't see that? And I could never forget Joe Bain, a guy called Joe Bain. Boy, he claimed that the government stole his land. And that is all he spoke about when one met him. I met him on Pandy Beach once, wearing his short blue pants and a big, big water boots. But I never got to swim because by the time he was through talking about his land, it was time for me to go home. You meet people like that, eh? They're talking, 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 and you can't get away. Because anytime you try to get away, it's another topic they're coming up with. But he was about land, so the government thiefy land. I don't even think he got back the land, according to him, of course. I am sure many Grenadians remember Karaku Sparrow, the old general boy, Karaku Sparrow. I can still picture him. I can see him in my mind's eye, in his Bermuda shorts and oversized straw hat, as he sang and entertained the crowds in St. George's. His favorite tunes were Banana Boat for England, Banana Boat for England, and The Lizard Jump Up, The Lizard Jump Up. He was a lively and energetic individual who made all kind of fancy moves as he sang his songs. A guy called Moshe, another eccentric individual. And Moshe tried to convince people every time you saw Moshe, he would say, I'm a damn millionaire. I'm a damn millionaire. That's all the man said. He was just like a guy called Endless, who every time you met Endless, he would tell you, hey boy, Endless is a lot, hey boy. Endless is a lot, and that's what he said, and he got the name Endless. He once met me by paddock, and he said, Wendell, Endless is a lot, eh? I said, yeah boy, Endless is a lot. So Moshe always said, I'm a damn millionaire, I'm a damn millionaire. He spoke in a very serious tone about all the money he had in the World Bank. The man tell you, boy, he has so much money. He said one time, I asked a woman to come and help me check my money in my house. And she loved to hear about money, you know. That's why he really got a thing, you know. But I lied, and I broke like hell. So he spoke in a serious tone about all the money he had in the World Bank. Yes, and he really believed that. I would say he believed it. Eh? Some people believe things, you know. You know, some politicians tell you all kind of shit, and they believe it too. Our school children only knew that Moshe was joking. They thought he was joking. And what about No? I've beaten up No too many times on Facebook, so I'm not going to tell you about No, except to repeat something I've said in the past regarding the sale bargains. You see, the store owners and shopkeepers, of course, used to tell No, you ring your bell and announce the sales. So he was a pioneer, early before TV ads and so on came about. And No, they ring the bell in St. George's and say, no. We have posies, for instance. We have posies to fit all size Bamsies. So No played a part in the advertising business. We have to remember our people. And I can't fail to mention Father Paul. I did say before that people came to Grenada and became part of it. People became, as we say, good in their class, beat all cockfight. Father Paul was a priest. They say he came from Malta. And the thing about Father Paul, he was noted for visiting women to pray with them, just as they were taking their shower. Every time the woman bathing, that is the time Father Paul appearing. And once while he entered the woman's house, just as he was changing her clothes after her bath, putting on clothes, Father Paul placed his hand with his fingers ajar, the fingers separated, and put his fingers in front of his face and uttered famous words that Grenadians kept repeating for years and years. Looking at the woman, Father Paul said, Father Paul can't see. But he said the words when his eyes, just as his eyes disappeared through his fingers. I can't forget Yato. Yato, another interesting character. And people used to ask Yato, 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 how the popo? And his answer was always the same. The popo so-so. You know, so-so the word was popular once. How you feeling today, boy? Man, I feeling so-so, you know. Yes, lady miss, how you feeling today? Yes, boy, so-so. Oh, the foot, boy, the foot so-so, you know, the foot so-so. I mean, it's not too bad, not too good, not too bad. Just so-so. But when you ask Yato, how the popo? And you see the popo so-so, you better run. You better run away. Just as the way you run away from the mayor of Tyrrell Street, a man called Red Ants. The Red Ants has its own story. I've beaten up on that one already, so I'll leave that there. Moving on to Bobby the Speller Man. I remember Bobby, too. I stood and I watched as Bobby hopscotched his way to the rugged track that led from Montgelou to Springs. Then he continued on to Belmont, his bare feet having grown immune to the burning pangs of the midday sun. Bobby was in a hurry again. There were those who claimed that Bobby was once a brilliant teacher or tailor, but then somebody do him. You see this doing thing, boy? It was a thing that some people believed, you know. I saw a man one time going down to Pandy Beach with 2 eggs. He said the judge, his son had to appear before the judge on a Monday morning. And he was going down with 2 eggs at Pandy Beach. He had gone to Obia man, and the Obia man told him to take the eggs to Pandy Beach. I don't know what to do with the eggs there, but he went there to do the judge. So the judge will let his son go. So the doing thing some people believed, and doing was one way to explain to a sudden change in one's behavior. Somebody either do you or they put light on you. They pass bam bam on you. Other people said they drag bam bam on you. A woman is saying they will want to go on the ground and she drag her bam bam on the ground. She says she passing bam bam on a fella. You never see a good day again. One thing was certain though, whoever succeeded in doing Bobby, boy, if that happened, that person were not able to do his ability to spell. Because you see, no word was too hard for Bobby to unscramble. He rattled them off, rattled out the words with the ease that would have made Mr. Webster or Mr. Cambridge smile. School children saw Bobby and instinctively asked him to spell. Anytime you see Bobby, that they ask him, Bobby, spell this or spell that. And he never stumbled on words, even tongue twisters. He even spelled some words in his own fancy way. Mississippi, for instance, became M-I, crooked letter I, humpback I. He spelled, and the people opened their mouth in amazement. And if he was asked to spell too many words, now get this with Bobby again. I said people could take it, but we could only take as much. Mess with Grenadians, I'll go find out. But it was taken up. When they feel they take too much, look out. Yes, if Bobby was asked to spell too many words, though, he became very angry and aggravated and mixed them up with some bad words, what we call bad words, obscenity. He was good at spelling those two. And then one was sure to get the message. You push people too far, you get a message from them. Don't push people too far, they could take, but not forever. Bobby was familiar with words, but he was just as familiar with praise. Bobby always learned of someone's death early. When the people gathered at his home to pray for the dead, Bobby was already there. It was a common practice to bring in the Legion of Mary. Do they still do that? I think so, you know. They bring the Legion of Mary, group of women especially, to recite the Holy Rosary. And the women and men will knock down glass coats or other rum that was available. And they drank coffee too. And they drank and sang, "O Lord, our help in ages past." And while they sang, "O Lord, our help in ages past," they helped themselves to more than a few strong drinks. Bobby would travel all over the place announcing the latest death. He was a telephone link that some people did not have. He was the deadline. Occasionally, he would ask for a piece of bread, and if one pretended not to have it, he would raise his voice and say, "You have bread there? I know that. You have bread there." He used to tell my mother that. "You have bread there? Miss Georgiana, you have bread there? I know you have bread there. Give me a piece of bread." He then took the bread that my mother gave him and he journeyed on. He was observant too, very, very observant. You know, some Grenadians could look and boy, they observe, they see everything. As he traveled, as Bobby traveled, he took keen interest in what was taking place around him. He acquainted himself with people and with things. It was not very wise, I'll tell you this, to ask Bobby, how the sugar factory in Woodland does go. And it was worse to do so when grown people, we call them big people, were present. We as kids asking Bobby that question, how the sugar factory does go. Boy, Bobby's answer was always a graphic. I can't cause a bad word here, but you get what I mean. Bobby would wind up his waist and say, "I have, I have, I have, I have, I have, I have." That's all the sugar factory. That's how it does go. I have, I have, I have. Oh Lord, the F stood for a well-known bad word. And Bobby had the movements that accompany the words. Then little children got licks for making Bobby cuss and wind up his waist. Oh boy, it was obvious and indeed natural that as he hastily trotted the hot pitch, and when the sun gets hot in Grenada, boy, that pitch just melt. It used to melt. Well, don't have to worry about that because see people put in like concrete now. With the hot pitch, you used to melt, boy. If you're barefoot, you can't walk on that. And as Bobby walked, sometimes, well, it was obvious that nature would sometimes call. So once when it did, Bobby sought to relieve himself right in front of a fella's front door. But the man get mad, and with a bull pistol, he put two bull pistol on Bobby. Bobby pull up his pants and Bobby move out. He sought a more suitable place beneath a nearby breadfruit tree. Then he continued to announce that Miss Mary dead, Miss Mary dead. Anthony Wendell the Riggs. Wait till I tell you about bag of rice and them. Yes, wait till I tell you about that. I love my Grenadian people, boy. I love my Grenadian people. God bless Anthony Wendell the Riggs.